Listen, for years, we've been chasing education and fighting for the right to go to the proper schools, to get the proper education. So that way we can uplift ourselves and become equal members of society and just have an equal fighting chance at a better life, the American dream that they say we can live. Now it's 2024, and companies are no longer requiring degrees. They're no longer requiring education, they're requiring experience. Oh, that means it's an equal playing field until we realize we don't have experience and we don't have the resources to get experience. So have we been chasing and fighting the fight and just double back and got beat again? Or do the playing field get equal because we can learn from each other when it comes to peer-to-peer education? But tonight we'll have a conversation on education versus experience and the things that I've went through and the things that I learned on my journey. Let's get it, Charles. Wealth therapy. Let's go.
AKA Him500, let's go!
Anything you want in this world is dependent on. Everybody wants to be wealthy. Everybody wants to get money, but why? I did 25 million in the last 2 years. I come from nothing. You gotta move with urgency. You gotta take action. You gotta act.
Some of y'all are scared to tell people, fuck you.
Ride big, ice big, nice crib. White fig started out just sweeping flows, now Fat Boy the CEO.
Everybody want to stand out. You can't be the same and be different. You'll never be the best in your industry if you do what everybody else doing. You know you got the mindset. You know you got the ambition. It's just you haven't got the fuck up. Either I'ma do this shit and execute, or I'ma fucking
All
die.
we talk is wealth, and them dripping sauce. This time we do for self.
I knew getting money would affect me mentally.
How many of you guys want to be multi-millionaires and create a legacy and a brand? We ain't in this for clout. We out here to get money. It's a whole lot of money in this motherfucker.
It's my wealth therapy.
Listen, we here. Y'all see what's going on. Listen, man, y'all know tonight's ensemble, right? We talking ensemble is by Starstruck. My team, throw that up on the screen, man. We got the ensemble from my brother over there at Starstruck. You know, this is what it is. But Starstruck is what I'm wearing, but we understand something is what? If you look good, you feel good. And if you smell good, you feel better. Listen, tonight we talking that talk. We talking education versus experience. I had to put that Tom Ford Tuscan leather on. I went with a classic, one of them ones that is distinctive. You walk in the room, they're gonna smell you. They're gonna smell this. This that experience smell. This ain't that I'm educated smell. This that, nah, I got this seasoning. This is that of seasonings. This would be like this Lawry's. You know what I'm saying? Like well-known, well-respected. When you walk in the room, you know, it's one of the ones you can get by and put on anything. This ain't one of them new schools, niche fragrance. This one of them ones, all right? So look, Tuscan leather, Tom Ford. It's how we smell tonight, so y'all understand the ambiance and how I'm feeling and the aroma that's going on when I talk this talk tonight. So anything that happened, you just understand what it is. A mix between the Starstruck and the Tom Ford. It's just one of them ones. Listen, though, tonight we're going to talk about something that's super important because it's education versus experience. And when it comes to education, we understand a lot of the school system, right? But a lot of times we don't talk about experience and the benefit of experience, right? And how beneficial experience is. And I apologize on being late. I know a lot of people jumping on now. We got started a little bit late. What's our numbers looking like? Okay. So we getting started late. People be waiting for me at 9. They think I didn't cancel. My team, make sure that email and text went out. All right. So, but my point and what I want to get to, right, as we get into this, is I want to look at the value of experience. I can speak the most to that, right? Because I don't want to have a ignorant conversation and be biased and say, oh, I'm only going to speak like experience is everything in versus education, right? Because I'm not one of the ones who came through the education system. So I'm not going to be biased because I know, and I'm going to be real. And my thing with me is that the only thing I can control is me. The only thing I understand is myself and my awareness and my ability to think and judge. And there's things about college that I wish I would have got to experience. Being in a fraternity, living on the dorms, just that whole experience around being with people my age as we entered adulthood, as we entered life. It's like a buffer period for us to kind of mature, a space for us to mature, because in that time frame, I was left out to kind of mature by myself, but I was on an island because it wasn't a lot of people that wanted to be entrepreneurs or go into business, right? It wasn't super cool. So when I go into business rooms or I go into business meetings and things like that, it's like, yo, oh, look at this kid. He's here doing it. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but it's no other kids here with me as well. And I used to look at it and go, man, I'm happy to be going down this path, making money. I'm not, like I said, there's nothing in my life that I regret. So I'm happy where I'm at and every decision that I made. But these are things that kind of build the confidence of those who go to college, because you're going through things with people at the same pace and at the same time. And that's super important, right? The experiences of growing up. And I think college as an experience is one thing, but college, when it comes to being a direct path and resource to make money, is another thing. And I think a lot of our community, we've relied on college as a lane for financial success. If you go to college, you'll be financially set. You'll be able to go make money. And that's where a lot of times the conflict comes into, oh, well, you went to college, you get a degree, you should be able to make money. And in reality, there's a lot of other things that college has the contributing factors that make college beneficial. Oh, you went and got that degree for $30,000, $50,000, and you don't even use it. But it's like, do you use the relationship that you built? What about the maturity that happened there, and the environment that you were able to mature in? These are intrinsic values that you can't put a dollar amount to, or a job can't say, oh yeah, it was worth it, because the person that you become in certain environments change everything. And these are environments that are more conducive for growth and development and positivity, not the detriment of an 18 to 23-year-old, 25-year-old who's just now getting into the world and understanding life. So when I look at that aspect, I look and go, these are things that these things change the person. It changed that kid into, and it molds them into a certain kind of adult. That's the part where I look and I always have a high, profound respect for college, because most people who don't go to college, what happens between the ages of 18 to 25, especially for Black men, they end up committing crimes. And they commit crimes because the environments of which they're operating in, they don't have any structure, they don't have any guidance, and that lack thereof. But the biggest part about that lack thereof is college or the world shouldn't be the go-to place for structure, guidance, and environment creation. Our house should be. Should be able to get that at home. Should. But most people don't. So then we have to look for an outside resource to give us that. And when we look for an outside resource to give us that, now we start to compare apples to apples and thinking that there is some kind of guarantee. It's a level of requirement. It's a level of entitlement that if I go to college, that I'm entitled to get these certain things and I should become this certain person. When in reality, the biggest benefit is helping you become a certain person, educating you on certain topics. But the person that you overall become is the most important thing in life. That's one of my things. That's the biggest thing I look at when I talk about college, and I look at college and the benefits. And when I talk to my friends who went to college and got degrees, and then you go into afterlife of the resources, the relationships, the network that you build. All of these things contribute to the overall development of a person. And it's 100% needed. And so I don't think that college is not needed, right? But now it's 2024. In 2024, a lot of things are changing at a rapid pace, and experience changes everything. So when I look at it now, and I look at our community, I look at the dynamics of which I come from. I can't speak to communities that I don't come from, right? So I'm talking to people who come out of mostly the dynamics of which I was raised in and that I was brought up in. I want you to look at and analyze things when it comes into our environments and when it comes to growth. Well, the wool is getting pulled over our eyes a little bit, right? And I'm gonna tell you how the wool get pulled over our eyes. I want y'all to hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button on this video while y'all here. Hit that like button and make sure y'all subscribe so the notifications on so y'all don't miss when I go live. The benefits in our community and from experience that we don't have. To get to college, we got to go through more than the average person has to go through to even get to college. And the reason being is because we don't have the experiences coming up, the proper training, the proper guidance coming up. We just relying on the school system to be our only way out when it shouldn't be our only way out. Because as adults and the parents in our neighborhoods and the parents that we are now as the adults, we fail our children, right? And so when it comes to experience, you got to realize something. Experience is everything. Experience it trumps college 100%, but it ain't the experience of business. It's the experience of life. The experience of life will put college to shame every single time. It will never miss. Why? Because the experience of life more is caught than is taught at every single level of life. The things that I've learned and the things that have made me successful, I didn't read out of a book and I didn't get taught a lesson. I learned from experience or learning from somebody else's experience. And these are the things that make us great. So when you say experience versus education, education is one thing, but the experience of doing something is totally different. You could read a million books on how to motherfucking run fast, but until you get your ass on the track and you run, you don't understand what it takes. You don't understand what it takes to run uphill. Everything changes from the experiences. So when you do certain things is mandatory to have the experience. You could read a book about everything in life. You can practice, but until you have real life, real world experiences, none of it matters, because that's when the rubber hits the road. And when the rubber hits the road, that's the thing that I want you guys to understand that's the most important for me, is that whether you go through the college system or you go through experience, guess what? When the rubber hits the road, that's when everything gets real. That's when you get tested. That's when you find out, hey, am I really cut out for this? Hey, am I really made for this? Hey, am I dedicated and really dedicated to this cause to take it to that next level? Am I really dedicated to my dreams and the things that I really want, that I'm going down on the path that I'm going down? Is this cut out for me, right? And nothing gives you that confidence like experience. But guess what? How can you experience something if you don't have the resources and the opportunities to experience it? All these companies say, hey, you don't have to have experience. You don't have to have education. You can have experience. Well, where do I get the experience from? Where do I get the experience from? I want you to understand something, right? As adults and as parents and as leaders in our community, right? Because we're all leaders in our community. We all have a job to lead in our community. It doesn't matter if you lead one person or if you lead a tribe of 10,000. You have an obligation because somebody is coming behind you no matter what. Somebody is looking to you, or they should be. And if they're not, then you're doing us a disservice together, because understand, we on this journey together. So when I look at it and I look at experiences and I look at the things that I've been able to learn, I teach people from my experiences. I help people become successful from my experiences. I got over 300 people that have made over $100,000 in a year from my experiences and me eating the learning curve for them based off of what I was already able to do. I was able to teach them based off of what I was able to do and go back to my community and share my experiences. See, a lot of us, if everybody, think about it, if as a community, if we all went out and had different experiences and we came back and we figured out a way to properly educate and share our experiences with 10 people, guess what? We get 10 times further. Why? Because now you cut the learning curve in half. Because what? Every time you went outside and you learned something, whether it was good or it was bad, you learned. Every time you had an experience, there was some kind of lesson in there for you to learn. It was either what to do or what not to do. And if you could tell somebody what not to do, is just as valuable as telling somebody what to do. Hey, don't go do this because that don't work. Okay, well, I was contemplating between that and two different options. So I'm going to take the other option. I'm going to see if that one works. And if that one works, then guess what? You just cut them out that learning time. But that learning time, we don't got 3-5 years of learning experiences no more. Why? Because it's putting us behind the gun because of technology. You can't say, yo, just go get a McDonald's job so you could just have some work history and learn how to make some money. We don't got that. You can't go work at McDonald's at 16. My children aren't allowed to work at McDonald's at 16. You're going to go figure out how to do something that's conducive to the betterment of your life. Get experiences in a field or some kind of way that will be conducive to helping you grow, take it to the next level. Why? Because favor ain't fair. I said this on the live last night. Dang, it's taking me back in that bag. Favor ain't fair. Let me explain something to you. Oh, experience over education. I'll take experience over education, but guess what? Experience goes to who has favor. Because if my daughter wants to go and learn about the trucking industry and get involved in the trucking industry and running fleets or running a brokerage, guess what? Alex will give my daughter a job before he gives a qualified adult. Because favor ain't fair. So guess what? If they do experience over education, who has the experience or the ability to allow people to get the experience at the companies that's being ran at the high levels? It ain't us. It ain't people that look like us. Because we don't go out and chase our dreams and actually start businesses and learn from our experiences and teach one another so that way we can go further. We got a bad habit of going in. If we do something, we don't want to tell each other. Don't tell nobody and keep it a secret. This has been the hermit crab mentality amongst our community for so long. Hey, if you figure something out, don't tell nobody. Black people, they'll mess it up for you. They mess it up for you. If you tell them, it ruins it for you. I don't know where that mentality has been conditioned on us, right? And now we're starting to break out of it to where we go, oh, wait a minute. I'll tell you. I'll tell people. And we started figuring out how to educate each other. Now we're starting to finally learn, okay, wait, peer-to-peer education is real. I can learn from somebody who looked like me because they went through what I went through. They understand the things that I'm going through, but they've already done it. I'd rather learn from their experience. Why? Because they're willing to share their experiences with me. That makes me that much more valuable in my entrepreneur journey when it comes to business relationships, or even if it's coming to get experiences to go work for a corporation. Because who you know got a tech company? How many of your parents' friends has tech companies? How many of your parents' friends running AI, a company that's dealing with AI, that's integrating AI into their sales system? So they're using AI, and you can go learn how to do sales with AI and kind of create and grow their business. How many of you guys have companies that are running campaigns and media campaigns and advertisement campaigns to where you want to go into media and advertisement? You can go learn how to do advertising with your friends' parents' companies. Hey, at what point do we realize and say, wait a minute? If my parents don't have those friends and relationships, what's going to happen to my kids? Because this is the train that's coming now, is that, oh, you don't need education and experience, but well, I need to have a circle of friends. I need to have a network of people that I can relay on to where I can be valuable to them and they can be valuable to me. Because if my children want to get into that industry, guess what? I have relationships there. These are the things where we start to look and go, wait a minute. Education versus experience is both go hand in hand, because experience educates you, but education doesn't give you experience. Ooh, I don't know if y'all heard me on that one. Experience will educate you, but education won't give you experience. I challenge you to go do something. In 2024, that my whole goal is for you to do work. My whole goal is for you to do work. Why? So you can learn and have experiences and share your experiences with other people. You have to share your experiences with other people. That's just how it goes. If you don't, guess what? We lose as a community. We lose as a society. We continue to lose. Now, let's just do the statistics, though. Is Black women have a bigger gap on education than Black men. Black women, when it comes to those who graduate, the percentiles is the furthest for women to men amongst Blacks. More Black women are becoming educated at a higher rate than anybody else. What does that mean? And now they get a rate. Now we go and say, oh, you don't need education no more. The one thing that the Black household is building off of is the Black woman. The backbone of a Black woman for so long, they've been the ones, because the war on drugs, mass incarceration, snatching the Black fathers and the Black men out of the neighborhoods. The women had to go get educated. They had to go learn how to operate and fend in the system. Until the men start figuring out, okay, wait a minute, we get in the system and how we can work it in and what we can do. Now, guess what? Education not needed no more. In 10 years, colleges will be extinct. 15 years, it won't be necessary. Let me explain to you why. Why am I going to let somebody go spend 5 years getting educated on something, going into debt that does not make them a great employee for me? I rather, and just I could be wrong. We'll see. But if I hire somebody and I can educate them on 6 months on how to do a job, and I can put them in peer-to-peer education, I can put them in a course on how to do this, I can put them in a course on how to market, on how to run campaigns, on how to do advertisement, on how to do Canva. You mean to tell me it could take me 6 months, 8 months to build an employee on my own dime, and now my employee is not in debt and has $100,000 in debt trying to go get a mortgage, and he can't qualify to live the life that he actually wants? See, let's reverse engineer. People who get college degrees, you come out with debt. So then you go in, you want to buy a home, but you got student loan payments. You're supposed to have a car. You're supposed to buy a house with the new job that you got. So you stack a car on top of a house, on top of student loans. And then you give them a job. And then you ask and you wonder, well, how happy and productive is this person as an individual to my company if their life isn't where it should be? They're looking for other ways to make money. They're looking for different things to generate income because financially they're bogged down. Yes, they're restricted and they're not going to leave this company, right? Job security, you got to be able to pay your bills. So now you can't probably leave the company. That's why people end up at dead end jobs that they don't like. But if I can put somebody in the same system and allow them to do something, clearly you took the job for a reason, so you probably were okay with it. But the thing that makes you not like it is that you're not being able to live the life of having the freedom that you want to live the life that you want, not being bogged down and tied to all of this debt. So in 10 years, I'd much rather hire somebody, create my own learning academy and my own training system to hire people amongst my company. I can partner with them and then say, listen, look what I did with Recession Proof. Okay, I can teach you guys about credit. I can teach you how to go get funded. I can teach you about certain businesses. But then I go get different people to come and teach you about other industries. I'm not a master in the stock market, so I go get Trap to do it. So I say, yo, Wall Street Trapper, come and teach my community about stocks. I say, yo, Alex, come teach my community about trucking. Yo, Neo, come teach them about event spaces. What now happens is that now I bring the resources to help my community become that much better in things that I can't provide for them. So imagine being able to train an employee up on how to do a job, but then they able to go and say, well, here, we can train you on other things that can just help you better your life. You now have a happier employee based off the experience. But the issue is this: where do you get the experience from? Who are you willing to invest in and live this life and live a life that you can provide for them? I can create a job for you and train you on it. But now I get to pick who I can change your life. If I run a company, I can change anybody's life by giving them the proper employment. I'm most likely going to pick somebody that I like, benefits my community, benefits where I come from, relates to me. That's the reality. Majority of my employees, 90%, are African American. Is it on purpose? No. But this just is what it is. These are the opportunities that I pass out. I pay millions of dollars a year in payroll. Millions in payroll. I'm putting it back into my community. But this is based off of experiences that I've been able to learn. And I'm looking now at the point that I'm at and I see the benefit. The benefit is never just for you. See, some of you guys may see me as an entrepreneur. You see entrepreneurs, you think you want to go into business, but you got to realize that everything that you learn, you should be teaching other people. But then as you learn more and you grow in business and you grow in your field and you grow in entrepreneurship, you can afford to give other people opportunities so then they can have experiences as well. Now, when they have experiences, guess what? Our community grows as a collective. But if you're not willing to go out and do something, if you're not willing to go out and try and learn something on your own and go and try, then we get hurt. And that's why we'll stay trumped down and we'll be trying to depend on somebody else to help us. That's the reason why. Just look at it and just tell me if I'm wrong. But if your kids don't go to school, what happened? If your kid cuts school tomorrow, and ditch class, what happens? If your kid come home with straight F's, not doing homework, what happens? Like, let me know in the chat, like, what happens? Your kid went to school today, didn't do his homework. She didn't do her homework, didn't do her classwork, came back late from lunch. In high school, they skipping class. Like, what happens? What's the consequence for that? What's some of the consequences we got? What do you want? 4? 194. Let me explain something to you, right? There's always going to be a consequence. But the same thing, guess what happens? We'll turn around, and the reason why we're not successful, we turn around and guess what we say? The school system failed us. They didn't teach us about financial literacy. The school system failed us. They didn't teach us about taxes. The school system failed us. They didn't teach us about taxes and home ownership and the different home loans and home mortgages. The school system failed us. So if we know the school system fails us and has historically failed us, how do we punish our children for not abiding and operating in this system? But we have to make them operate in this system because they don't have another option, because we can't give them the experiences that they need to grow and develop into what we think they could help them become successful. We don't have it. So when I look at the school system and I look at when you say experience versus education, I think to myself, the experiences that I had that make me who I am in life were caught. It wasn't taught. It was things that I seen that helped me grow to be who I am. It wasn't a lesson that somebody said, yo, this is what you got to do. Nobody ever said, hey, do this, and do this. It was always lessons that I learned. And as I learned these lessons, guess what? I started implementing it. Even if it was lessons that happened 10 years ago, it still comes back to a point. 10 years back, it comes to a point and go, wait a minute. I remember seeing this. I remember experiencing this. And then everything changes. And now I'm able to understand the importance of peer-to-peer education. I understand how important it is for me to be able to educate to you guys and talk to you guys about my experiences and the things that I've learned and the things that I see. This is the new wave. Education has to trump experience, but the experience is needed from us. We got to be able to learn amongst each other. It's never been a time like now that we can actually learn from one another. We can learn from people that look like us, and we can learn from their experiences so we can become better. These are the things that I want you guys to focus on. These are the things that I look at in my life, and I just go, yo, you know what? It's so much out here for us to do and become better. But we don't tell each other. We won't have an open conversation about what works or what doesn't work. If you're in a position in life and you 50, 60 years old, 70 years old, and your life isn't how it should be. No.
Jay Rush gave you 100 and Trap gave you 100. Shout out yourself.
Yo, shout out to all my super chats, right? Jay Rush and Trap tapping in, right? What I say and what I want to challenge in this instance is that when you actually go through life and you learn and you have experiences and you pass those experiences off, guess what happens? Everybody wins. So one of the things that I'm focusing on now is that I want us to get to a point where we realize that no matter, that's where I was at, 50, 60, 70 years old, no matter what age you are at in life, guess what happens? No matter what age you're at in life, you have experiences that you've learned that you can pass down, whether it's good or bad, whether you tell people how you ended up in a bad situation or you tell people how you ended up in good situations. You learn from these experiences. We need to learn from each other's experiences. So often now we look, and now people sell courses and they say, all people get rich selling courses. No, people are getting rich selling e-learning. understanding this is a peer-to-peer education system. I built one of the biggest e-learning curriculum, the e-learning communities in the world. And I teach people directly from my experiences, peer to peer, on things that I've done to benefit my life and change my family life. I'm never one who will tell you what you can't do. I'm only here to show you what you can do. Take that back in. I'm not here to tell you what you can't do. I'll never tell you what you can't do, but I am here to show you what you can do. That's it. I'm willing to live by experience and share my experiences and document my journey for those that come behind me. Why? Because if I don't document my journey and don't tell people about it, then you never know. See, so as I talk about business, and a lot of times we look and say, okay, well, how do you run a business? Or I want to get in entrepreneurship, but I don't know what to do. Well, then what happens is that, do you actually pay attention to those who actually teach and share it and share? We see so many businesses operate right in front of our faces, to where you can go and literally look and say, companies are starting to use AI. Companies are starting to automate things. Well, it goes, well, how do they automate things? What systems do they use? Are you familiar with the Manny chats, with the Go High Level, with systems that can actually create everything? People say, well, why should I pay you to learn from you? Okay, well, you should pay to learn from me. Why? Because I've learned how to set up a Go High Level account to where I can send out emails and text messages. You in business and you don't know when to think. See, understanding how to set up a Go High Level is one part, but when you start to understand this, when you start to understand, hey, if I send out a text message to one of my customers a week early before it's time for them to renew, and I give them a thank you, if I send them a gift card, instead of me just sending them a reminder to come back and rebook, hey, you got an eyelash appointment next week, are you ready to reschedule? No, send them a gift card the week earlier and tell them, hey, listen, these are some great Starbucks recipes that I've seen, and I'm just giving you a gift card a week before I remind them to come by with me again. Well, why? What does that do? It's the euphoria and the energy that you create, that you push off to your clients, and how you do in business, right? A lot of business owners only worry about making money and taking money and don't realize that you got to reinvest. So when you start learning, how do I give back to my clients? People ask me, how did you build recession proof? Well, I did $3 million events, $2 million conferences, $3 million conferences for free for all members. But people wouldn't realize, well, why would you do it for free? Why wouldn't you charge for tickets? Because I'm giving back to my customers. I'm giving a percentage of what they spent to me back to them. But these are things that I learned from experience. So when I tell somebody who's in the beauty industry and they come to me and ask me for coaching, I'm like, yo, you got to look and see, what do you give back? When somebody pays you, and they don't pay you, they pay your business. But what does your business do for them? Like, what does your business keep that energy going? Do you ever go and say, yo, here go a gift card. Let me send you a $5 gift card. I made my profit margin was $180. So I'm gonna give you a $5 gift card, a $10 gift card back. So my profit margin came down from 180 to 170, but my show up rate on people who come back and repurchase from me and utilize my services increase by 15%, 20%. So I give away $10, lower my profit margin, but I increase my overall revenue because people are willing to do business with me, because it shows that I care. These are things that I learned from experiences. These aren't things that you can just be like, oh yeah, here, I just read a book and they just told me to do this. No, these are things that I learned from experience. These are literally the things that you start to learn. You start to learn on how to communicate, what systems, how to send a text message. You start to learn in business from experience. Hey, email open rate is getting worse. Text messages are better, but broadcasts on the DM work even better. If I send you a DM, you're going to actually open my message up. How many people know, okay, well, y'all looking at building your email list and building up your campaign list. Well, I rather run a targeted campaign. I'm running a campaign right now to get people to opt into my broadcast list on Instagram. I want you to opt into my broadcast list on Instagram. So whenever I need to solicit you, or I need to sell you something, or I need to give you something, or I need to invite you somewhere, I can send it directly to your DM. A few years ago, it was emails. Then it went to text messages. If you're real good, you got ringless voicemails. But do you realize that all of these things can be operated and controlled out of a system called Go High Level? Oh, yeah, I know about Go High Level. Okay, but do you know the functionalities on ways to best use and the best practices to have with the capabilities and the functionalities of this business? These things come from experience. These things don't come from, okay, I'm going to read on how to do it. No, what works, what doesn't work. See, I'm at a point right now, I look and I go, okay, my email campaigns are okay, but my text messages are way better because I can look at them and track my open rate numbers. My broadcast is click-through rate is way better, but the collecting the broadcast, the members on the broadcast is slower than on text message because I got to get people to opt in. So it's harder to build this broadcast list, even though it's more effective. It's not going to grow how I can get it to grow for email and text, because I can get people to give me their phone number and email. So I can't stop doing this and just do this. So as I slow and figure this out, even though I know this is going to be the future and this is going to be much more beneficial, in the instance of right now where I'm at, I still got to do these things. But I'm learning from experience. So I can look at people and say, well, if you're just starting your campaign out, you better off starting your campaign out on the broadcast side where people are directly getting into your broadcast channel, not going and trying to build a big email list and that's a thing of the past and it's dying down. The actual platforms that social media marketing and all these advertising platforms, they don't want you to leave the platform. So they're making it more inclusive to where, hey, whatever you need to market, whatever you need to sell, whatever you need to do, you can do it right here on my platform. If you go on TikTok, you can sell your product right off a TikTok platform. They don't want you to leave their platform. So if I can see that, then I will not continue to teach people, hey, build an email list, build a text list. You need active campaigns, Zapier, all of these different softwares. When you need one backend CRM software, and you need one platform that's booming, and you can use the platform to the best of its ability, whichever platform or all platforms that you use, but you're gonna need one CRM on the back end, and that's gonna be Go High Level. Matter of fact, and I'm gonna drop a link to Go High Level, so I didn't mention it so many times. I'm gonna drop a link in the description for y'all to be able to go pick up to join Go High Level and get familiar with the software. But it does everything in one part, right? And that is completely your CRM, and it's your with that CRM, it helps you do everything: text messages, emails, reply to chat. So when y'all comment on my page and reply, it already has the auto flows built out to send it back, sending you the DM bots. Like, these are literally things that I'm using. I'm using that and ManyChat, but these are things that I'm using, and I'm using Go High Level now, and I'm gonna be able to get rid of ManyChat. But these are things that we have to be mindful of. These are the things that we have to be mindful of. These are the things that we have to go, okay, listen, as I go and build my business out, it's certain I can learn from other people's experiences. I used to do webinars, and I would do a webinar on Webinar Jam, but Webinar Jam had a lag in it, and it would lag. So it would take 2 minutes for me to see comments from what I told somebody to do. If I told you put 1% in the chat, it would take me 2 minutes to catch that. But it had a lag in it. And so we all would complain about the lag in Webinar Jam until the owner told us, hey, no, we put a lag in there. So just in case, certain people can't say certain words, they can't cuss, and they can't do certain things, it gives their team time to edit it out. So it doesn't be in the feed, and now they got time to edit it in production while they're actually going live. They can clip it and edit it up right there on the spot. I said, man, that's amazing. But then it glitches out. And if I go spend $100,000 on ads and I get 15,000 people on here, 10,000 people on here, and they glitch out and I got to go to Zoom, I lose a lot of my audience. And that cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I've seen that happen. So I stopped using Webinar Jam. You think it didn't happen to me, it happened to other people. I see my friends have to try to jump on the Zoom and send the Zoom link out to all the registrants, and they had 4,000 people on the live. But when they flipped over to Zoom, guess what happened? 600. Now, when you make an offer to 600 versus 4,000, you know the difference. Let's just say it converted at 10%. 4,000 converted 400 people at 10%. 600 is 60. If the product was 1,000, 60,000 versus 400,000 off a small glitch. Yeah, I'm not willing to take that risk. So I stopped using that software, but these are things I learned from experience, not from, hey, yeah, education. These are actual experiences, because education will tell me this is the systems that I need to use. You can use Webinar Jam to do X, Y, and Z. 100%, I get it. But the experiences that I now have tell me, no, that's not going to be the best practice, because these are things and potential glitches that can happen. So when you ask about education, you ask about how does this go, what it need to look like, I listen, experience is everything. But the goal is this: it's not just the experience for you, because once you get the experiences, you are now obligated to teach somebody else. You are now obligated to tell somebody else. We need peer-to-peer education. We need to be able to teach one another, because we have to be able to say, okay, look, if we're going into these industries, if we're going into tech, hey, how do I get into the tech industry? Don't ever think that creating a course is bad. Don't ever think that, hey, it don't matter if you went from A to B. If you went from A to B and you only making $100,000 a year, you understand that when you get in business, how hard it is to start. If you've been able to stay in business over 2 years, you understand how hard that is. You understand how accomplished you are. Most people that start a business don't go more than 6 months. If you have been able to walk away from a 9 to 5 for over a year, and you've been able to feed yourself and take care of your livelihood, it don't matter if you balling, taking vacations or not. If you've been able to create a substantial amount of income to pay for your overhead, to take care of your kids, to keep clothes on your back and keep food on your table off your own ability, that experience alone is worth more than anybody's degree. That experience alone is worth more than anybody's degree. Because it's hard to get up every single day and hold yourself accountable. It's hard to get up every single day and say, listen, I got to do it. If it's going to be, it's up to me. It's hard every single day to keep your morale up. It's hard every single day to get up and put that grit and put the work in and not rely on somebody else's system. And when something breaks in your system, to go, damn, I got to fix it. I got to rely on myself. I got to rely on myself to be resourceful enough to go figure out the next thing that I got to do, to go figure out what's the next thing I got to build, or how do I repair this, or who do I need to hire? Who do I need to partner with? If you can go out for a year, a lot of people have been in business for a year, 2 years, and they feel like, oh yeah, I haven't hit the 7-figure mark yet. Like that means you're unsuccessful. Hell no, it means you're super successful because you've been able to do something that majority of Americans will never be able to do in their life. 95, 97% of Americans will never be able to feed themselves off their own ability for more than a year. So if you've done that, guess what? You've eliminated a lot of the hardest part that people start with. When you start a business, the hardest part is getting started. That's the hardest part. It's actually getting started. So if you can look back and say, well, these are the things that I went through, good and bad, and this is why I'm still here. Do you know how valuable that is for somebody? Do you know how valuable that is for somebody? That's something that can change somebody's whole life. That first year in business and just teaching somebody how to stay in business for the first year. How you were able to walk away from a 9-to-5, the resources that you made happen, the things that you made come about, the things that you made flow. Like, how did you stay afloat? What programs, what credit cards did you use? What did you do? How did you do it? See, you can't go in, nobody goes and says, oh yeah, tell me a book that tells you, hey, when you get into business, when you make profit, go buy hard assets. What? Yeah, when you get into business, use your profit and buy hard assets. Go buy hard assets and then use those and borrow against the hard assets to keep security in place, and then use credit cards and other people's money so you can spread it out over a longer period of time. So you can insulate yourself so that way if your profit comes back, when your profit comes back, okay, listen, I'm insulated 2 or 3 different ways. So when the profit comes, I'm buying hard assets. I'll buy a hard asset. So just in case I ever got to go and get money, okay, I'd rather get money from a hard asset. Let's just say I go buy a house. Let's just say you go buy a $300,000 house and you like, okay, well, look, I'm making X amount of money. I'm just going to buy a house. I don't got to live in there. I'll rent it out, whatever. The rent could just cover the mortgage. I just need my money parked there to where I know it's safe. Not the mortgage, because I want to buy it. So eventually I want to be able to pay it off. I use myself as an example. I have homes that I have paid off. If I got a paid off property and I need to go and say, well, look, I need to borrow against this house. I don't need to refinance it. I can use this as an asset, right? I use my assets and I borrow against it. So now if I borrow against it, now I got capital sitting. But then I use somebody else. Then you understand about credit. Okay, well, if you got credit cards, you got those as well. You got some of these that says 0% APR. So I got security. If I invest in my credit card to update my product, well, I got a little security nest over here to kind of help me as well. But I want my business to be profitable to where it can pay back. But I got security and I don't pay interest on this. And I got access here in case I need it. So I'm so insulated to where it's like I'm not overextending myself, but I'm learning how to feed myself. But if ever one thing stops working, I'm okay. But then it's not, hey, I just want to have one stream of income. I just only want to do hair. No, it's I'm also going to do hair, and I'm going to have an ebook to teach some of the better practices so I can sell an email, because this is 100% profitable, because I ain't getting that many people in my chair. So that many people ain't getting in my chair. So I got to figure out how to make money more than one way. So now I got a digital product. Okay, well, people want to see how I set my shop up, how I set up my e-commerce business, because I'm selling digital products. They want to see how I'm actually growing and running my business and running my social media. It's cool. Look, give me $1,000. I take 10 people a month. They give me $1,000 a month. That's $10,000 a month to show you my whole back-end ecosystem. So now, even if I'm not getting a million people in my chair, I got a digital product. If I'm doing hair, I got hair products that I'm selling as well that I can then sell online. So I got an e-commerce brand I sell online. I got a digital brand. So my digital brand is literally selling emails. And then I got an in-person experience for $1,000 to just come and see how all of it worked together. So now I'm making $10,000, $15,000 a month, even if they're not all clicking. Let's say you're making $7,000 a month. But because you have all of these different ancillary businesses, around one product and one thing, plus you insulated, this is how you don't fail. But what do most entrepreneurs do? They go to work, they get some money, they get one credit card for $20,000, and they go spend that fucking credit card, and they go build a website, they go buy their products, and they do everything, all the marketing, they go get photo shoots, and they go run. Then they just post on Instagram, and they think they're gonna run ads, or they try to take 5,000 and run ads, and they run through the whole credit card and don't realize that you got nothing to back you up, and you got nothing in your business that's super profitable. If I sell an email, it costs me nothing. So anytime somebody buys a digital product from me, it costs me nothing. It's all profit. But if I have to sell you a physical product because I want to make a t-shirt brand and make a t-shirt company, every time I send you a t-shirt, it costs. Every time I make a t-shirt, it costs. Every single step, there's so many ancillary products in there to where now, okay, this isn't as profitable. I may make $100,000 in my t-shirt company, but I only profit $30,000. But if I make $100,000 selling digital products, I make $95,000, $92,000, minus if you ran ads or not. Other than that, all you need is softwares that cost a few $100 a month. You see the difference? But if you add all of these into the business together, what happens? You can't learn that. They don't teach you and say, hey, these are all the things that you need to do. These are things that come from what? Experience. These are things that come from experience. So I challenge you and I ask you and say, hey, listen, with experience, what does your experience reveal to other people? Because these are lessons that I'm teaching you guys now, sharing with you to help you build your business out and help further you in life. But these are the experiences that we need you to go through and run these races so what? We can continuously grow and build together. This is one of the biggest lessons. So when we say education versus experience, listen, experience can educate you, but education can never give you experience. It just don't work that way. Both of them are needed because when it comes time to grow, when it comes time for development and maturity, guess what? There are certain environments. But guess what? With the peer-to-peer education system now, that's the reason why I created it the way I do. That's the reason I give people the opportunities that we get together. We do conferences. We go on trips. We have basketball games. We do different tournaments. Why? Community building. Because I understand how important it is for us to be around each other in a positive environment. We don't need to be in a toxic environment. We don't need to be in a negative environment. We don't need to be hanging around and saying, oh yeah, only thing I go hang out and spend time on and watch sports. Listen, you only got 100% of you. It's the only thing you got. You got 100% of you. If you give 20% of you to some bullshit, guess what? Majority that's 20% of your life. Understand something. You got 100% of you. Let me break it down, right? I did this on live last night. You got 100% of you. If you got to work a 9 to 5 and feed your family, guess what? That takes about 40 to 60% of the muscle that you got. Your brain is only so strong. So when some people say, oh man, the football game ain't nothing but 2 hours. But it's the prep time for it. It's the conversations after. It's the fact that you know what happened, the stats, you go and looking at highlights. You have conversations about it because you're in the know. I can't have a conversation about what happened with the Cowboys or the Lions or the Eagles or nobody, the Niners. I can't have a conversation with what's going on with them because I'm not in the know. So those are automatically conversations that I'm disqualified from. I only got 100% of me. I only got 100% of my brain. Guess what? I don't care how strong you think you are. Nobody can sit and do curls all day. Muscle fatigue. So you only got so much thinking power in a day, so much brain power and brain space in a day. So what do you use your brain power for? What do you use your brain space for? What conversations are you having? What is it that you're entertaining? What is it that's sitting the most on it that you're thinking about and talking about? Whatever that is that's what's eating your brain away. So when it comes to sports and different things, I don't condone in it. I don't participate in it because I don't have that space. I only have space to try to make my brain stronger when it comes to me learning about business, learning about how to grow my business, how to become a better entrepreneur, how to make more money. This is where I spend my brain power at. So guess what? This is what my brain gets stronger at. And as my brain gets stronger and develops these experiences, I can share more with other people. But if I sat and said, imagine if I was heavy into sports and I just watched the games all day and 2-3 days a week, guess what? You may think it's 2 hours, but then you having comments online. You wearing your jersey, you going back and forth with people, having conversations. looking up the highlights, the things that you watch on social media now is relevant to that. So you can stay up to date on the conversations that you want to have. So guess what? You learning all of these things that are not conducive to the journey of which you say you want to go. That we actually need you to go. Not we want you to go. We need you to go. Because we see what's happening in the world. We see what's happening in the culture. But explain why people get pushed so far back and they look at other people like, help me and put me on. That 30% of that time of your brain power that you used puts you back 30%. The 30% that somebody else used to grow themselves when it comes to financial literacy, when it comes to business, when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to feeding themselves, comes to how to provide and feed for their family, that extra 30% puts them 60% ahead of you. You look up at life and you say, well, I know a lot about something. It just ain't the right something. I know a lot about LeBron, but I don't know a lot about money. I know a lot about clothes or cars. I know every car that's coming out, the horsepower and everything like that. But I don't know a lot about money. But somebody took the time when y'all was at the same place and decided to learn about money. They learned how to be disciplined with money. You disciplined with what kind of car you like. I know people that will only drive Fords and some people only drive Cadillacs. Like I know some people are super disciplined. You dedicated and disciplined to your team. You ain't putting on if you're a Niner fan, you ain't putting on a Cowboys jersey. You a diehard Niner fan. You disciplined when it comes to it. But imagine if you applied that discipline to where you said, I'm not going to work for somebody else. I'm going to work for myself and I'm going to make this work. Discipline is discipline. Where you apply it to takes the same amount, the same exact energy and the same dedication. It's just this isn't as cool because we don't got the experiences and we don't have people in front of us telling us and saying, do this, or hey, do like this. And this is how you stay dedicated. This is how you stay loyal. You know what super fans look like. Got the jerseys on their wall. You go to their house, they got the man cave. Like, you know what it looked like to be a fan of sports. You know who people are fans of cars or people fans of hip hop. You can see it. Those they allow you to emulate. It's easy. That's peer-to-peer education. You don't even know it. But when it comes to experiences, when we talk about education and growing, look how dedicated some people are to their college. And there's nothing wrong with college. I'm not shading college. There's people that went to college because that's where they grew up and developed, that do well for themselves. They go back and they donate to their college. They spend time at their college. They wear their colors, they homecoming, they dedicated to it because it's helped them grow. Some people, it's too late for you to go to college, or you're not at a point where you don't want to go to college and you need immediate resources. You need to learn how to do things now. That's where peer-to-peer education comes in. That's where peer-to-peer experiences come into where you can do things now. That's when it gets super valuable, where you can actually get into it and go, you know what, I'm going to go learn and I'm going to go join this community because I like what they teach and what they learn. And that's what I want to learn. But I also want to be around people who are learning like me, who come out of the same environments, who didn't have the resources that I didn't have. They didn't have those resources. They just learning something. So, okay, they're going to be making some of the same mistakes that I'm making. We get to grow up and mature in this entrepreneur world together, in this business world together, in this financial world together, in this stock world together, in this trucking industry together. We get to grow and develop together in this world, but I'm gonna go and be around people who want to be there because this is what I now want to do. That's the power of peer-to-peer education, but this is the power of one person's experience now creating a culture around other people to teach them how to do what they've learned because they've experienced it. And then what happens is that you branch out and then you go and teach somebody else and help people as you overcome the battles and the hurdles and start getting experience with things. Now you become that person. And it generates another stream of income for you as well. But what I challenge you is that it's 2024. What experiences are you going to create for yourself that you're going to be able to share and teach to other people? Or are you going to go to college, push your kids to college, and let the school system dictate who they are, what they become, and if they're even relevant or valuable anymore. For these companies to say education is no longer needed, that just discredited something I paid $60,000, $70,000 for. And somebody in India can do the same job after 6 months of training. I don't know if I'm comfortable living in that world or in a world that could be dictated or maneuvered that way. I don't think you should be either. But these are the things that we got to overcome. These are the healing hurdles that we got to overcome, that we all got to go through together as a community, as a collective, and realize education and experience is both needed. It's not one versus the other. But experience can educate you, and education can never give you experience. Swell therapy, y'all. Let's go.
AKA Mr. 500, let's go.
Anything you want in this world is dependent on. Everybody wants to be wealthy. Everybody wants to get money, but why? I did $25 million the last 2 years. I come from nothing. You gotta move with urgency. You gotta take action. You gotta act.
Some of y'all too scared to tell people, fuck you.
Ride big, ice big, nice crib. Wife big, started out just sweeping flows, now Fat Boy the CEO.
Everybody want to stand out. You can't be the same and be different. You'll never be the best in your industry if you do what everybody else doing. You know you got the mindset. You know you got the ambition. It's just you haven't got the fuck up. Either I'ma do this shit and execute, or I'ma fucking die.
We talk is wealth, and them dripping sauce. This time we do for
I
self.
never knew getting money would affect me mentally.
How many of you guys want to be multi-millionaires and create a legacy and a brand? We ain't in this for clout. We out here to get money. It's a whole lot of money in this motherfucker.
It's my wealth therapy.